Kalafalahiyatu, good evening, and here's our news bulletin for tonight. It's too early to say, but the strong performance by new members of the Whanokepuli yesterday in its first proper sitting could set the tone as to what will be thriving force to influence change. The Prime Minister and his new government contended with many questions and concerns that are most relevant at this time for the country. BCN News plans to bring you coverage of these points in the lead up to the meeting of the budget paper next Wednesday. We will include in tonight's bulletin question about the Niue Superannuation Fund, the impact of the fuel increase on end businesses, and the revitalization of the Price Control Board.
The discussion about the Niue Superannuation Fund, which transpired from a question raised by Common Role member Moira Anetama, centered around the government's long-term commitment to ensure Niuean workers are secured under a permanent scheme. The Prime Minister explained that the new scheme has been in development for the last 4 years, which is in conjunction with the development of the new legislation. However, he explains the government has put in place a temporary scheme that employees can join by applying through the Crown Law Office. The scheme is voluntary and without government contributions, which will come into effect when the new legislation is in place. A question about an impact assessment of the fuel increase, specifically on motor-dependent businesses, was also voiced by Common Role member Robert B.J. Rex. The Prime Minister responded that a holistic assessment which covers all vehicle users would be more appropriate. MP Robert B.J. Rex responded that a specific assessment on businesses will benefit everyone, as the usual practice of pricing for businesses is to lay the burden on the consumer. Another relevant point for today is the role or the revitalization of the workings of the Price Control Board. The price increases for some goods are beyond comprehension, which has sparked a concern that the Price Control Board or the legislation to authorize measures to protect the consumer have not had any role to play for many years. The Prime Minister agrees that the board has not functioned as it should, and members have left the board due to the difficulty of scrutinizing and enforcing measures upon people that they know, which is a common issue that we as a small nation has to navigate. Among several suggestions to resolve the issues of the board included one from Minister Richie Mautama, as he says to incorporate the board as a select committee of the Parliament. The BCN News team will continue to bring you more information from yesterday's Whanokepuli in the lead up to the presentation of the government's budget, which will be tabled in the Whānau next Wednesday.
In preparation for the commissioning of the new solar farm located at Hikuwhenonga, testing will take place tonight from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. The tests are necessarily for the new installations and the integration into the national power supply system. The Director of the Department of Utilities, Clinton Chapman, issued a notice yesterday that it is moving into its final stages of the renewable energy project that is expected to be completed in July. Solar power is expected to serve as the main power supply in place of the current diesel-generated power as Niue moves towards its goal of 80% renewable energy by 2030. BCN spoke with Clinton Chapman, who said that the first round of testing will begin tonight, Thursday, the 4th of June, from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., followed by a second test on Saturday, the 6th of June, between 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. on Sunday morning.
The project at the moment with the Renewable Energy Phase 2 solar project upgrade at Hikuwhenonga, we're at the completion process now, leading up to practical completion in July. At the very moment, the contractors are here to prepare for full commissioning. As we've put out in the public notice, there will be testing on Thursday night, 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. and then Saturday from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. There is very little likelihood that the power will go out, so the notice that we've sent out, it's just to make people aware. Following that, next week, that is when we will be doing live testing in the grid. So there will be planned outages. In the middle of the week, we will send out a detailed notice by the end of this week. So that one we will need to test the integration of the new solar and battery systems into the grid in synchronization with the generators at the newer power station.
Mr. Chapman explains that it will be highly unlikely that a power outage or any interruptions will happen during the test. He says that keeping the essential services operating, such as power to healthcare facilities and water supply, among other important services, are usually prioritized if they encounter serious challenges during this testing phase.
We've deliberately set the time from 10 p.m. Till midnight and 10 p.m. till 3 in the morning to minimize the interruptions to the likes of the businesses in Alofi, eateries. But contingency planning for us, as we always do, is to ensure that the standby generators for the essential services like the hospital, the airport, and other emergency operation centres are working should the power go off on Saturday and Saturday. The likelihood of that happening is very low. We are more concerned and would like the public to be more prepared for the ones next week. Probably on Wednesday, but we'll confirm the timing after our testing on Thursday night this week and Saturday night.
The director emphasizes the need for our people to remain vigilant and to take care of the appliances by switching them off for the periods that planned outages are to take place. The full operation of the solar panel farm will be a welcome relief for Niue as fuel prices continue to increase. A group of traditional carvers known as Tatai Hononga have been on the island since last Friday for a 2-week carving symposium. The group's main aim is to produce 3 sculptures for the Hikulangi Sculpture Park. PCNU spoke with the lead of the group, Master Carver and teacher Michael Michetet, who said that the plan to do this has been spoken over with renowned local artist Mark Cross during his 3 previous trips to the island with his wife.
The symposium is open to the public and is located at the Lealangi complex where the group is staying. The group welcomes local carvers and keen learners to share and exchange knowledge and stories.
So I come from a family of artists and teachers. Our hapu or village back home on the east coast of the North Island, a little place called Taka, is known for its teachers and artists. So there's already kind of a tradition there, and we have a lot of traditional artwork around the place as well as some contemporary stuff. So I grew up with that. And I was lucky to go through a schooling system where during woodwork they allowed us to, they actually taught us how to do some carving, very basic stuff. And then once I reached about 17, I applied to the National Carving School in Rotorua and went through there for 3 years, did a 3-year apprenticeship. So in regards to school kids, I think it is an awesome place to start, probably at preschool, to introduce those traditional images to kids then and get them to start engaging with them so that it becomes normal for them to see them and to work with those designs, and then slowly through the schooling system, through primary, through to high school, develop those skills further rather than starting as an adult where you know almost nothing.
The group is self-funded, and Mr. Matchett expressed how traditional and cultural practices are typically self-funded. However, they are most grateful to Mark and Ahi Cross, who have sought funds to supply the materials for their use during the symposium. They are also very grateful to the Lakepa community for their generous and warm hospitality.
We produced some pieces over a period of 2 weeks that were auctioned off over there. And this is the next stage in that. I've got to say that, just in case anyone thinks we've used any funding to get over here, this is all self-funded. We pay for our air tickets, we pay for our accommodation, and then when we get over here, we're not making any money. There's no grants that support us to be here. Just take time out from the normal job, which for me is carving. I've been carving for over 40 years. The other guys are carvers as well as a number of other things. I suppose a bit like the guys over here, where you need to have a full-time job. I suppose I've reached a point in my career where I'm trying to find ways of giving back to communities without being a burden on those communities. Well, too much of a burden. So there's no expectation that we're being paid for what we do.
BCN News spoke with Mr. Mark Cross at the Hikulangi Sculpture Park. He explains the significance of the carving project to promote for the practice to be more visible and inviting for local carvers and for young people.
Been here, Mike and his partner have been here, I think, 3 or 4 times to Niue, and they stayed with us last time, so we planned this more solidly last year, and now it's starting to come to fruition. These are very professional Māori carvers, and the hope is that the local carvers get involved with it as well. I know it's difficult with people working and everything, but just to get inspired by the techniques of the carvers. That's not really my department, but that's the ethos behind everything we do here, is to draw attention where possible to local people getting involved in whatever sort of artwork we're doing, and in this case it's the carving.
Mark also spoke about the purpose of the carving project as a potential draw card for more carving projects, as he looks forward to welcoming a renowned stone carver whose work is in the pipeline for the sculpture park in 2027.
Been working on a sculpture by quite well famous sculptor, New Zealand sculptor, Chris Booth, his name is, and he's been up here twice, and his main medium is rocks, of which Niue has plenty, obviously. So, and if you see at the back of the park there, the new part of the park at the back that we're developing, that's the substructure for his work. And this is one aspect I want to try to get in as well. Some well-known artists will draw attention potentially from sponsors to the park in the distant future, or near future, hopefully. So yeah, that's another project that we're working on slowly, and that's his input will probably be next year.
In this year's King's Birthday Honours list, 12 Pacific individuals have been honoured for decades of service in sports, education, language, public service, and also communities across Aotearoa and the wide Pacific. 2 of them are Niuean elders Waituelo Kumitau and also Tofa Rapatina O'Halloran. Mrs. Kumitau was recognized for decades of work presenting Wangahau Niue and supporting Pacific families and students in Dunedin. While educator and language advocate Mrs. Tofa O'Halloran was recognized for more than 6 decades, supporting Wangahau Niue through teachings, writing and cultural preservation. Mutalau held its annual Marine Day on the King's Birthday on Monday this week. The people of the village and kin fishermen and women from around the island were not deterred by the rain, the cold wind and through conditions as the show went on. PACN spoke with village councillor Ms. Helena Tongakilo and youth leader Ms. Chema Parker.
Mutalau was the first village to hold this event. Ms. Helena said that the main objectives of the day have remained the same over the years, and that includes coming together as a village to celebrate and enjoy the day of fishing and gathering and selling of food.
Well, the weather's not going to get me down today because this is a wonderful day for the village. This is the second to largest event that we have every year, which is Marine Day 2026. So it's been wonderful from the beginning of this morning, which was around about 6 o'clock. Everyone was down here setting up, and yeah, it's been wonderful.
Youth leader Gemma Paka says that youth participation can be improved by incorporating the traditional teachings of the village elders as part of the Marine Day activities.
Participation depends on if the youth is available, because we don't really have the numbers. So whoever's available participates in the community work, and we don't really have the numbers for the youth. But whoever is here and whoever is available, we do help out wherever we can and participate as much as we can.
Ms. Helena Tongakilo was also pleased that the refurbishment of the village's Uluvehi establishment was completed in time for the event. It provided much needed shelter from the rain and wind. She says the renovations were sponsored by the New Zealand High Commission and the Australian High Commission.
Normally would spend a lot of money hiring marquees, which has been great, but now we have a deck and we have the shelter, the lean-to shelter, and it's been great today, as you can see, as you have seen this morning. Plenty of room, ample room for everyone to have their stalls, and that's the biggest change that I've seen. Other than that, we've had pretty much the same program each year, but there's some sort of excitement in the air because we've had this new part of our Uluvehi Function Centre.
BCN saw several canoe fishermen out on the Namukulu Harbour and also in Alofi. BCN met with a couple of canoe fishermen at the Namukulu ramp. One of them landed a yellowfin at about 12 kilos heavy, and the other caught a paluhahave, and one other which we both could not identify.
In our final story for this evening, the Niue Primary School held the annual Sports Day last Friday at the Paliasi Sports Ground. From the marching to the sprints and Tasika still racing, it was a day to enjoy the skill and sportsmanship of the youngest of our population. It was just the right weather for parents and friends across the island to descend on the country sports ground to enjoy the activities of the day. It began with the marching, where Malau came first, followed by Paeko in second, Hahave in third, and Tufu in fourth. The overall results saw Hahave as the 2026 team champion, followed by Malau in second, Paeko in third, and Tufu in fourth. The Tasika event for male athletes and All for New for female athletes have been marquee events of Niue sports. The Niue Primary School Sika Champion for 2026 was won by Master Dasen Tatui of Hakupu, and the All for New for 2026 was won by Ms. Grace Waka from Alofi. And that's our BCN news for tonight. We'll bring you our news bulletin in Wangahau on Tuesday next week. Until then, good evening. Losana Suniholo saying good night.